Everybody, welcome to number 59 photo share and discussion here on G Plus slash YouTube slash Flickr. I am, for those of you that don't know, you probably know me, but my name is Mark, and I am your congenial host. We usually have a couple people pop in, so we'll see who joins in. But right before I started the Hangout here, I was doing a little research. I've been itching to get another camera here for the last month or so, and it would be another film camera and probably a medium format film camera. And we're just kind of doing some research, trying to get an idea on pricing, availability, that type of thing. And I just found a site that was kind of interesting. It's actually popular photography, but they had a story that I just was looking at. It was, I don't know, top film cameras you should buy today, and was kind of zipping through that. And for any of you that are watching after the fact, either on YouTube or Google Plus or whatever, that have any information or insight into some of these cameras, I want to go through the site because it's pretty interesting. Let me know. I'd be interested in feedback. I'd like to get, like I said, another medium format camera. I already have the Rolleicord VA, which was built in 1959, and I've taken some fantastic images with it. But it's fixed lens. It's a twin lens reflex with the waist level finder, so you have to look down to use it. I was hoping to get something that might give me more of an eye level finder, like a traditional SLR or something like that. And I'm going back and forth between the format that I want, 6x6, which is the square format that you get with the Rolleicord. The Hasselblad has that, and I think a Bronica makes one as well that can give you the square format. But then there's also variations on that using the same film, the 120 film, and that's the 6x4.5, which is 6 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters is the size of the negative. And then there's the 6.7, which is 6 centimeters by 7 centimeters. Pentax makes one of those. I think Fuji and a couple others make a 6, and Mamiya maybe make a 6.45. But I'm going back and forth on that. I've got a couple 35 millimeter film cameras, so I don't need another 35 millimeter film. But I would really like another medium format film camera, maybe before summer gets into full swing. I'm just kind of itching to get another one, but I don't want to spend a ton of money, and that's the challenge, is doing something that's budget friendly that still has the option for good quality images. And let me go back here. All right. The site I'm going to show to is Pop Photo. I don't know when this was done, probably a year or two ago. But it's got some interesting cameras, and a couple of the regular participants in this, Tim has one of these that's on here. So I'll kind of go through that, just kind of an interesting listing of cameras. And they've got some pretty good reasons for it. But I'm going to go ahead and start the screen share and start talking, kind of give you an idea of this. Hopefully you guys can see this. If I can see it, you can see it, I guess. This is popphoto.com, and I think the title of this is 12 Film Cameras Worth Buying Right Now. And number one at the top of the list is the Bronica SQ-SQA. And they say it's a workhorse for pros, like wedding and portrait photographers, first built in 1958, went through the 80s, and they stopped making them I think in the late 80s. The SQ and the SQA, they're both manual focus, but that's fine. The SQA offers, I guess, a mirror lock, which is interesting. It's a square format camera, which I love the square format, so that's something that I'm really I'm kind of in love with the square format, so I don't know if I want to get another square format camera that has interchangeable lenses and maybe an eye level viewfinder. If I can, I think I can set the Bronica like that, or do I want to go to a different size? Um, Prices, yeah, this is something that might be a little bit more budget friendly. Body's in decent condition. I've done a little bit of poking around on KEH.com, which is a great place to go for um, cameras, used cameras, that type of thing. They're actually here in Atlanta. Or in the Atlanta metro area. I just haven't gone to the actual store yet. But you can get a body somewhere around 80 to 100 bucks. Um, and uh, and then on top of that, you need to buy probably a finder, a film back, and then of course the lens. So I think all in, I'm probably looking um, for somewhere between $500 to $700, which is a pretty high sum, but it might be one of the more affordable choices for medium format. Here's a 35 millimeter film camera, the Canon EOS one. This is from the 80s. I don't know what year this was. 1987, first released in 87, but it's a pro level film camera. So if you guys are looking at that, 1989 EOS 1, you can probably get it somewhere around a couple hundred bucks. Slap your Canon lenses on it, you'll be good. An interesting thing. Here's one to Tim Boone from sunny merry old England, who joins in quite a few weeks here. He got the Canon AE1, I think last year about this time, and he absolutely loves it. It's a great film camera. I've thought about getting one myself because it's pretty affordable. I shoot a Canon DSLR, but I already have two other 35 millimeter film cameras. I have the Olympus OM1 from 1973-74, and then I've got the Nikkormat from 1968, which was actually my father's film camera. So I think I'm probably fine. But this is a great camera, built like a tank, like all the cameras were from the late 60s, early 70s. And you can get one for 75 to 150 bucks. So very reasonable, high quality, great film camera for 35 millimeter. Now here's an interesting twist on a medium format. This is the Fujifilm GA645. I apologize for all the ads, but this is Pop Photo. But this is a kind of a neat article. Shoots 120, 220, and it's a fixed lens, great for travel. But we'll get you some of those sweet. It is a fixed and a built-in flash. So it's a 60 millimeter lens, but it's equivalent to about a 37 millimeter on a typical 35 millimeter camera. So it's it's a fairly wide angle. It's got a built-in flash, and it's kind of interesting. It's a little pricier than we like, but considering it comes with the lens, it's not a bad deal. Plus, interesting appearance, probably to draw the attention away from those cocky new X100 owners. That's one of the things that's fun about film cameras. Is you go out there with a vintage film camera, you're going to make friends, and that's something that is one of the best parts of film photography or classic camera photography. If you go out and about in a crowd, especially of photographers and non-photographers, but you go out with an unusual camera or a camera that people that maybe aren't into photography now, but remember the camera from when they were kids or growing up, you're going to get a lot of attention. So if you want to be completely anonymous, go out there with a DSLR. And I think I've said this before, but if you want to get some attention, make some new friends, talk to people, get the opportunity to talk photography and why you enjoy it, and kind of spread the word, spread the gospel of photography, especially film photography. Go out there, get a vintage film camera, and go out in a crowd, a gathering. Like when I go to my car shows, I always get attention. Today I went to a local car show here in the town we live in. Just real quick in the morning because I had some frames that I needed to finish up off my on my Rolleicord. So I took it out and I took my DSLR out, and I was going some of the older cars trying to use a Rolleicord, shoot black and white, and I had 3 or 4 people all in a span of like 10 minutes come up and say, "Wow, that's a cool camera. What I remember that as a kid, or my dad had one." just great fun. So if you want to make new friends and get the opportunity to talk about photography, go out there with a film camera. And this Fuji 645 is kind of an interesting option. That's something to consider. I think that might be yeah, a few $100. So that might, for that much, if it's something like for around $400 or $500, I'd probably go with a Bronica. But kind of a neat camera. It's kind of all in one. Now here is the Hasselblad 500, I think, 500C. It's a square format, medium format. It's got a great reputation as a camera. And sometimes you need to repair. Yeah, Hasselblad has been around forever. They're built like tanks, but they have a lot of repair parts available, that type of thing. And even a manual focus film model has staying power and a cache with the Leica, yeah. About $430 with a waist level finder. So that's a little on the high end. And then you got to buy the lens, which is going to be several $100s at least on top of that. But it's a great camera. Film camera, takes fantastic images. I'd love to have one. Now here is a Leica 35 millimeter camera, one of the most revered cameras out there right now, especially film shooter. And this is this is the Leica R series, built in, I think this is the 70s or 80s. The body is going to be, yeah, 100 for a basic model, to maybe $400 or $500 if you get one with the built-in data back and meter and all that. So, but then you got to buy the lens. Once again, the lens is the expensive part with most cameras. But a Leica would be one I'd love to have at some point. Now here's another 645 format, the Mamiya 645. It's a lot of going for it. Camera's well built, dependable, easy to use, flexible. And you can switch the film backs in the middle of a roll. A lot of people use this for wedding photography, I think. I'm trying to remember when we got married. I think it was a medium format camera. I can't remember. I wasn't into photography at the time we got married. Cost, okay, yeah, a couple hundred. This might be something interesting. I think the lenses are decent as well, so that might be an option. The Mamiya 645, not a square format, but kind of interesting. Here's a basic film camera. I think this one is still made. The FM10, yep, still manufacturing. $340 new film camera. A lot of film students use this. So it's a currently made 35 millimeter film camera, FM10. Here's a Nikon N80. This is from, I think, the late 80s. Pro level camera. In 2000. Okay. Previous consumer out of focus. Yeah. Cheap and affordable. Can't go wrong there. Here is my other contender, the Pentax 6.7. I've got a buddy here in Atlanta, one of the groups I go out with, that has this, and he shoots. He's got it. It's got the grip on the side. He shoots it like an oversized SLR on steroids, and he loves it. Film camera. He's a guy that I don't know if he owns a digital camera. Maybe he does, but very, very minimal. Maybe like a digital point and shoot. All his other serious cameras are film. But it's a nice big negative. You get about 50% more negative. The problem is the price. I've done a little bit of research on this. The body, but by the time you add up lens and viewfinder and that type of stuff, you're probably looking $300 to $700. Maybe it's probably going to be a little bit less than the Hasselblad, but probably the Bronica is probably the lower price option out of the three. Here's the Pentax K1000. Talk about a workhorse 35 millimeter basic film camera. This is it. Um, I remember this as a kid. I didn't have one, but I had friends that were into photography. Friends as a kid that had were into cameras, and they had a K1000. Cheap, affordable, durable, kind of hard to beat. And let's see what this one is. I don't know what this last one is. The Ricoh GR1. Looks like a film point and shoot. Yeah, 28 millimeter lens, wide angle. Yeah, kind of interesting. But just kind of an interesting site. I've just started the process of researching, and like anything else, especially in photography, like anything else in photography, there's a ton of choices, and you can spend as much as you want, and the budget just keeps going up and up and up, and that's always a challenge because just about all of us are on a budget, and we've got to live within our budget as much as we can, because food and shelter is probably more important than a camera. So I'm always trying to balance, the monthly bills with saving for the future, and then trying to buy cameras and lenses and stuff on top of it. I haven't really purchased that much this year. I've done a little bit of software, and I bought a few rolls of film, but I haven't purchased really anything photographic this year, and here we are into May already. So I've got a little bit saved up. I just want to make sure I spend my money as best I can, and I think it's going to be for a larger format film camera, kind of to complement the Rolleicord that I have, the TLR. All right, but I'm going to jump into the group. We've got some images posted. I thought maybe some people would pop in, but today might be a busy day for people, so I'm just going to start the screen share, go back in, and kind of go through the images here. If you're wondering how to submit images, I'll show you here. We've got a Flickr group, Mark's Photography Spot, on Flickr, and you can go there and submit images, join the group, and then be sure to go to Mark's Photography Spot on Google+, add Mark's Photography Spot to your circle. I'll get a notification. I'll add you to the circle that I use to notify people, and that way you'll know when the Hangouts are. We typically do them Saturday night, 6 o'clock Eastern. I might move it. I don't know. We'll see. But that is kind of where things are at. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you can go through YouTube if you're watching after the fact, or just shoot me a message on Google+. All right, I'm going to start the screen sharing. I always start with the image we looked at last in the previous show. And this was Tim's from last week. Weird, he titled it, and it was long exposure. He used, I think, a 10-stop ND filter on this to get the nice pillowy effect on the water. It was a very nice shot. Shot it with his 40D with a 18 to 55, yeah, 18 to 55 lens. Nice shot. You got the desired effect, which is that nice cotton ball pillowy effect to the water. So nice shot. And the ND filter tends to make things blue, as Tim was saying, and it worked out great because you got the blue water and the blue sky. So it came out nice. Nice image. This is from Shawshank. This is his 50 millimeter f1.8 lens. And that's one of the things I'm looking at getting for my DSLR is a faster 35, 50 millimeter lens. And that's one of the other things on my list. But kind of neat, playing with the focus and depth of field. It looks like it was shot. This is with a lens that doesn't communicate with the camera, basically. Nikon D50, yeah. So interesting. I like that. Got the Nikon nice and sharp focus. Everything else is kind of blurred and out of focus, which is fine. Nice little interesting shot. And here's another one from Shawshank. He calls it heart-shaped bokeh. Pretty cool. And he shot this with his 50 millimeter ISO 3200. So it must have been at night. And pretty cool. I like that. I don't know how he got the heart. I don't know if that was done in post-processing or not. But very interesting. I like it. Definitely, um, definitely some interesting bokeh there, and you got the heart shape there. It's nice. A nice color, nice bright red with the black, and yeah, just interesting shot. Pretty creative, and I like it. And here we go, playing with some lighting. Here we got shadow on one side, light on the other. Self-portrait, and I like that. Nice black and white, taken with the 50D with his 50mm f1.8 lens. This is ISO 200, 1/68 of a second at f16. So big depth of field, and I like that. Shadow and light and dark, almost halfway down the face. Yeah, very cool. Nice shot. Self-portraits, always interesting. And I think he posts another one. Yes, here's another one. And this is, once again, shot with a 50mm lens. And AmpFit said, great use of negative space as the highlights on your cheek fade into the background. He says, just isn't enough texture and shading on your face to make your eyes pop as the center of attention. Yep. So this eye is definitely in focus. This one's a little blurry, but this side of the right side of his face is very sharp. The left side not quite so much, but yeah, with the white background. Interesting shot. Very creative. I like it. It's a great look, and good job. That's a neat image. Here's another one from our resident portrait photographer, Joe D. This is Selena with Brenda as the makeup, and I gotta say, Joe, I love this shot. She's a beautiful woman. The lighting is great. Just a super dark black background. You can see her hair kind of fades into that. The lighting is nice. Once again, the eyes in very, very, very nice focus. Yeah, just excellent shot, Joe. Very, very nice. Can't say much bad about it. It's just well put together. Beautiful woman, nice lighting, great composition, nice editing. Yay. Way to go, Joe. Here's one by Greg Martz. I think he just joined the group, Greg. So thank you very much for joining the group. Welcome. Look forward to seeing more and more of your photos. Purple Flower took this picture at the Norfolk Botanic Gardens in Virginia with point and shoot. The DSCW, Sony makes great point and shoot cameras. And ISO 125, 40th of a second. And these are orchids, maybe? I don't know. They kind of look like. I'm not a botanist, but my mom is really into flowers, and I think I picked up a little bit from her, and I think maybe these are orchids. I could be completely wrong, but I love the color. The mix of the purple, the lighting coming from the back, the green kind of frames it in a little bit. On the cropping, if you could maybe crop it just a little bit there, kind of get this. This is kind of straight out here, but the lighting is great. I think this side is fine. It's a nice image, colorful. Not bad at all. And point and shoot cameras, a lot of people feel that they can't take good photos with, even their iPhone, smartphone cameras, point and shoot. It is, the cameras, the quality of the sensors and the lenses now is so good, really across the board. You can definitely get better quality with a professional level or a higher end consumer DSLR and a good lens and that type of thing, but the gap is smaller and smaller. There's not as much of a gap as there used to be. Even the lower end digital point and shoot cameras are fantastic and do a really good job. So most of it is just up to you as the photographer to compose the shot, get the lighting right, know how to work the camera, and this is a great example. It's a nice image, very nice. So thank you very much for sharing, Gregory, and look forward to seeing more and more of your images. And thanks for joining the group. And this last image was mine. I just posted it this morning because I've been so busy. I've been so busy the last couple months. But this is an image from our trip to Death Valley back in October of 2011, almost 3 years ago. It was right after I got back into photography. I had the Canon, Rebel T3i, but I didn't know. I was still learning a lot. I mean, I'm still learning a lot, but I was definitely overwhelmed with all the features and everything. So I was trying to just take everything in, and I took a lot of images on this trip, and some of them were okay, but a lot of them really weren't, or at least I thought so at the time. But I've been going back through images from that trip, taking a fresh look at them, thinking about maybe how I might want to crop a little bit, do a little bit of processing. And this was one that when I took a look at, I said, hey, there's something to it. It's called Artist Palette. It's on Artist Drive in Death Valley. It's a little loop road that goes up against the hills. And all these different colors are the result of oxidation, the rocks. So I don't know, there's copper and iron, and we get the reds and the greens, and there's blues and yellows and browns. And I took a bunch of shots of this, and the compositions weren't fantastic, but this one wasn't too bad. I cropped it a little bit around the corners. There's a little bit of stray stuff up here and a little bit down here, so I maybe cropped it by 2 or 3%, just a little bit on the edges. I increased the saturation a little bit. This was in the middle of the afternoon. This was October. I think it was at 1:40 in the afternoon. The sun was really, really bright, so I increased the warmth of the image a little bit. I increased the detail. I dumped this into Color Effects Pro and did a little work on it. But I got some of the detail to come out, got the colors to come out, the warmth of the rocks. I'm pretty happy with it. It's very colorful. I've got a lot more images from that trip. We did Las Vegas, Death Valley, and Zion National Park, all in about an 8-day period, 7 or 8 day period. So we kind of flew into Vegas, spent a night there, went over to Death Valley for a few nights, came back to Vegas, spent a night there, over to Zion for a few nights, and came back and flew out of Vegas. So Vegas was our center point, and it was a great trip. We went in October. Beautiful weather in Death Valley, 90s. Zion was obviously cooler, highs in the 50s and 60s, kind of chilly at night. Fall, leaves changing, perfect time of year. If you guys are thinking of going out to this part of the country, Death Valley, Zion, that area, think about mid-October. The weather is typically very nice in Death Valley. It was warm. We had a lot of days that were 90, 95, 94, 95 degrees in the floor of the valley, but it was really dry. And Zion was beautiful as well. So fall is a great time to visit parks of the Southwest. So that's the last image for this one. I've got a bunch more I'm going to go through from this trip, so you'll probably see me posting images from that trip on again, off again over the coming months, the next 3 or 4 months. We're going to do some traveling here this summer, so I should hopefully get some new images. And speaking of travel, it's a perfect segue. We're coming into the summer travel season. I'm sure most of you are going to be taking a trip somewhere. Be sure to take your camera and be sure to capture some images and share them, whether you share them here on the Flickr group, Mark's Photography Spot Flickr group, or on Google Plus or whatever. Get out there with your camera. Use the trips. Maybe you're going places you haven't been before, new sites, new landscapes, new cities. Take your camera and capture the trip. Document your trip, take photographs, and share them with the world. I mean, it's so easy to do nowadays with the internet and all that. Just perfect. And I'd love it if you shared it with our group here, and we can talk about it. But summer travel season's coming up. We're going to take a couple of trips over the course of the summer, and hopefully get some good images as a result of that. They're going to be more family and friend oriented, but we're going to try to set aside, a day or so on each trip just to do photography, which I think is important. If you can do that and set aside some time specifically just for photography, where you don't have to worry about entertaining friends or whatever. You can just get out with your camera and make photographs. It's a great thing to do, and I think we'll be able to build some time for that into our trips here this summer. So hopefully you guys can too. Next week is, I guess, the traditional start of summer, Memorial Day weekend. So we'll do a show next Saturday. So if any of you guys can make it, join in. We had nobody join in today because it's kind of busy, I guess, but a lot of you will watch it on YouTube after the fact. So join in. We do a show every Saturday. I send out the invitation a day or two ahead of time, just reminding you that the show is going. So hopefully we'll see some of you guys next week, and get out there with those cameras, start documenting summer fun and trips. And until next week, take care, everybody. Enjoyed, and we'll see you later. Happy shooting.